I developed a game for the past 7 months. And this is what I've got. Before I could do anything though, before I start working on the game, I had to create a plan for what I wanted to do. While I was planning, I had an idea. I wanted to try combining 2D and 3D in the same Unity project to see if I could get both a 2D player and a 3D player in the same scene. My idea for achieving having two separate players in the same scene is by having separate objects that those players are inside of, and those objects are enabled and disabled, and that enabling and disabling is controlled by another empty object. Everything about my idea so far seemed to have been going good, as most of it has seemed to have been working, but there has just been one problem that I have to face right now. I had no idea how to write a 3D character controller. Now that that issue has been settled, I've got a mostly working prototype for the game now. Before I continue on with the development, I just need to explain the main mechanic of the game, which is switching between 3D and 2D dimensions. The way this mechanic works is the player switches between 2D and 3D, and when they are in 2D, they can move on the X and Y axis and have a 2D player movement and a 2D player view, but when they switch to 3D, they get to see a 3D view and move in the Z axis as well. The player's position is saved between the two player objects so that if a player moves in 2D, that movement will be stored and set to the 3D one, and same with the 3D. Now that the explanation is out of the way, I turned the little test scene I was working on into a tutorial level to show players how to play the game. Along with making a tutorial scene, I also started work on a menu. This new menu would allow you to enter the tutorial level that I just finished and allow you to start the game, which means I have to start work on the actual levels. I'm gonna be honest here, I'm not that good at level design. I've never been. I mean, I've gotten some practice with some stuff like Mario Maker, but I've just never been that good at it. So this is honestly the part that took the longest for the game. To work around this issue, I decided that the first 4 levels I would make would be very simple in introducing mechanics of the game, and the 5th level would be putting everything that the player learned from those levels together in one big level. Now that we've got a plan out of the way, I had to figure out what style I wanted for my game, as you could probably tell, it's not really anything really. I had 3 ideas for styles that I wanted for the game, the first one being a vaporwave aesthetic, second having like an old 3D kind of look, and the third one would be keeping the work in progress project still being made kind of style. I didn't exactly want to do work in progress as it felt a little lazy in my opinion, and although I love the vaporwave aesthetic, it doesn't exactly fit the game I'm trying to make here, but I do feel like old 3D would be the best fit for this project. Now that I've figured out what style I want for the game, I'm going to start working on implementing that style into what I already have. The first thing I had to figure out for old 3D stylization was I had to get the camera rendering at the correct resolution. The way I would do this is by making a new render texture at the resolution I want the camera to be rendering, and have the camera render to that texture. Then, I would have every level show that texture instead of the screen. The only thing this solution for the resolution doesn't work for is the UI of the game, but that's only a problem in the main menu. I also added a spinning cube to the main menu just to make it a little bit more interesting. I also started work on texturing for the environment. I also made materials using those textures, and then gave them the vertex lit shader to make sure that they're lit a little bit more accurately to the old 3D. And with those changes, this is how the game looks so far.
It was also this point that I made a name for the game and made a logo and added it all to the main menu and made the menu a little bit better looking. I started work on more levels, but I'm not really going to show that process as I don't want to spoil the solutions to the levels. And I was also able to figure out how to get all the UI elements rendering at the same resolution as the camera, so I got those along with better UI elements put into the game. Then I created a 2D character sprite and made some background mountains for both 2D and 3D. That's most of the major stuff I've done for the game during these past 7 months. There are a lot of other things that I've done for the game, but most of them revolve around what the levels are about, so if you want to see what they are, then you're just gonna have to play the demo yourself.